Hey everyone, welcome back to compositing training. So this is not gonna be basic training, but to download the footage from my Patreon you're gonna use the post with the basic training, cause the source is from the basic training where we've done a simple cleanup of wall. So in this class the cleanup won't be as basic, it will include the geotracking with the Geotracker node, which trial version you can download for free from the Keen Tools website. I'll link them under in the description. And with it we're gonna track his head to lay out cards on his glasses and patch this big red dots on his glasses, make them disappear using the After Effects content aware fill, which is an absolute must to know if you do cleanup, because in the right hands it will automate a lot of headache from your work, as we want to remove this no good production crew eyes, replace them with actual cyber guys by putting some motion graphics inside of his eyeballs behind the glasses. So it doesn't matter if you completed the basic training or not, we're gonna work on completely different part of the shot. In the basic training we've done the cleanup of this wall, so if you want some, typical Nuke's cleanup, you can watch Nuke basic training on my channel and download the project files from the same place. We perfectly clean up this wall, animating the color correction. So, but if you've done this, then instead of taking the out result that you've rendered with the grain from the script, you wanna render the degrained version to the cleanup pre-comp. So to make a pre-comp, I will first disconnect this grain plussing from here to render the degrained pre-comp. And that's basically everything I want to do. I also may want to use the reduce noise instead of the denoiser, so I'd better go with it. But I think that it will cause my alpha to be filled and my layers won't work this way. So I'm gonna turn the alpha back off here, as I worked without the alpha of the source input, so that's why it will work perfectly this way. I will now set the folder here to work, cleanup, assets. I've created a folder here, wall cleanup. I've already rendered this pre-comp as I was preparing for this class. And I've called it the same way as the footage is called. Put the wall cleanup there, 5 hashes, EXRs. And now I'll hit save and render everything once again, the whole sequence. So I want to delete this old out folder render, hit OK. And as my render finishes, I will bring back the pre-comp here and we will start working. My render is finished, so I'm gonna select the right node, hit R on the keyboard, create a read node out of right node, see if nothing bad is stuck in the cache, and create a Geotracker node. Connect the background pipe to this degrained cleanup pre-comp, and I want to create an analysis file which is native motion vectors of the Geotracker, which it will use for tracking. So it creates them by analyzing the footage. First we're gonna set the folder for it, which will be work track assets. I've named it like this, GT version 1. So you can not put the pre-calc extension here, it will put it there automatically as you hit analyze. I will overwrite my old file, processing the whole sequence. So my project settings are already set to the frame range of the right node, and the format is also set. As it analyzes things, I also want to import the tracking geometry, which I've kindly put for you into the track assets folder. And this is the optimized version of scan of his face. So I had a full scan, I've just, gotten out the face and optimized it so that it will be suitable for the tracking. So I'll briefly talk about all the tabs so that everyone will get an idea what this tool is about. So we have the geotracking tab, in which we got the kind of main options. The pre-calc that the Geotracker uses to track things. It can even track things without the background, you know, if the pre-calc is connected. So I've just canceled that. So now we have the focal length option. We can have the varying focal length, aka zoom, and we have masks that we can connect through the background, display options, some motion blur preview options, so that you can do a really precise track by matching the motion blur. So it doesn't actually track motion blur, it just shows it. Here we have some option of back face culling, so it just eliminates the polygons that are not seen behind the front faces of the geometry that we actually want to track. So in the next tab we have some smoothing if the track is shaky. I've done a very deep course about geotracking in Nuke on FX PhD. It's like the best course about geotracking, I think. So you can check this out if you are interested in some deep tutorials about Geotracker. So user tracks, you can use them to improve your tracks. Results used to output the transformation nodes or cameras on tracked camera nodes. So anything you need for the projection and stuff, and the license tab, and that's basically it. So Geotracker will work better than Face Tracker here, as we don't have any face movement and we just want to get the rotation and translation for the cleanup and compositing of the eyes. So I will connect this geometry to it, and I hope it will finish already. Alright, done. So now that geometry is connected, I want to center it, but before I put the first keyframe I want to go to some rememberable frame like 700, so I will center it here. It will put the keyframe here immediately, and I will match his face with it like that. So as I'm starting to struggle with matching his face, I'd like to set the focal length to fixed and estimate it, so now I can be more precise. So but I should be very careful here, as it is really sensitive to all the movements I do. Yeah, kind of like this. Alright, now I'd like to track forward. Good. And backwards from the same frame. So now I'd like to turn on the full frames processing, as it will help us to avoid some issues of caching the frames, and turn on the center view button. Like in Mocha, you can stabilize the footage by your track. Yeah, I think that we even don't need to refine anything here, because everything looks too smooth to disturb, you know. If we will put more keyframes, we will disturb all this nice rotation shifts. We mostly need the eyes. I think they gonna be fine. So with one keyframe set up, I'm gonna output the transform geo without linking the output and the camera node too. I want to create the scene node and the card. There we go. And I want to match the card with his eyes roughly. So first of all, I need to scale it, rotate it 90 degrees by the y-axis like that, right? And pull it up here, enable the shading so that I can see things better, and put it on his eyes, approximately where his glasses should be. Rotate it like the way the glasses should be on his face. Well, probably a little bit to the front, like that. So maybe minus 90 will be easier to control, like that. No, definitely a little bit bigger to cover everything, but not too much, so that we can focus on this area as we will output it through the UV mode of the scanline render. So let's attach this transform geo animation to our cards, insert it into the object pipe of the scanline render node, take the camera, take the apply material node to project the footage with animated camera onto this geometry and output the UV of that geometry without the camera. And I think that we gonna need a bigger card like that. Let's play it back. So definitely needs a little bit more of matching, so I'll create another viewer here, and just so that I can match better here while looking onto 2D view as well. I'll select this transform geo of the card and try to understand what should I do here. So by looking at the shift here, I feel like one of the reasons is the X rotation, and I wonder how much of it I need. So as the glass has become more kind of flat, you know, you will reach the right angle of the rotation. So you see they kind of become like the front view of the glasses. This means that you are on the right track. And then the only thing that keeps distorting it will be the position of them. Yeah, I think that the wire rotation is still a little bit off. So I may want to move them a little bit so that I will center my view kind of on things I want to see. Yeah, so this kind of things definitely takes experience, and I think this already gonna be good enough for our cleanup. A little bit more of wire rotation. So if you're having a hard time completing it, my project files are as always on my Patreon, and the link is always the first one in the description. Thanks for keeping this channel alive. You can also chat with me on Patreon, I'm always in touch. Yeah, I think that just a little bit of wire rotation should help. I just want to get this, you know, compromise of the front view for the whole sequence. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that working more on it will be pixel fucking, and pixel fucking is bad. So now I want to output this stabilized glasses to EXRs in order to import them into After Effects so that we can use a content aware fill on these dots here. So let's select our right node and go to our cleanup folder, assets folder, and I've created a folder called glasses stabilization here where I'm outputting this pre-comp. So glasses stub, name of the footage, glasses stub, hashes, saving them. So now I'm gonna render it, whole sequence. So the render is done. Now I want to go inside of After Effects, import it here. Here we go, glasses stabilization, create a new composition. I want to save my project to the cleanup projects. This is how I named it. You can name it with your department if you like that, but this will conflict with the name of the Nuke script that we've named like that, so I've named it content aware fill and placed this old project there. So first of all, I want to make sure that my bit depth is 32 bit per channel, and I also want to set the composition start frame to the start of my sequence, which was 647 rate. So if you haven't content aware fill, you can take it from the window content aware fill and put it wherever you'd like it to be. I'd like it to be here. So now I need to select this area somehow. To do this, I will key them out from the red channel. Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3, Alt 4 to cycle through the channels. So I will key them out from the red channel with the curves effect. And I want to create the Luma mat. This means that I'm gonna need the shift channels effect to take all the channels from the red channel and leave the alpha untouched. So I want it to be contrasty like that. And now I can use a Luma mat for this layer, and content aware fill will already understand the regions which it gonna operate on. So I also want to mask these two regions. Holding control will make your circles appear the way you want. I'd like to keep these two things in these circles without taking anything I don't need. Perfect. I will set it to add, and now I'll set it to Luma inverted matte, because I need to get rid of these areas. So now our key arp is perfectly selecting the areas, and I want to set the alpha expansion. So I'm not sure if I'm expanding it to the right direction, but we will try the value of 30 with the edge blend method. I found it to work nice here. Let's generate a fill layer, see where it will take us. Well, gotta say this worked pretty great, although it's stuck in the cache. So I've deleted the old fill layer and I'm gonna expand the alpha more. Yeah, it is expanding it definitely in the right direction. Expansion to maximum, generate the fill layer. Great, exactly what we need. Yeah, that's exactly what we needed. You see, it also produces some, lighting changes there. The things you can do with the simple roto paint and grade animation. Well, of course, everything can be done manually, but why do this manually if we can do everything automatically already? We just have to turn on our brain and use the right tools for the right task, as I always say. Yeah, this is perfect. No more pixel fucking, I promise. I'll render it by hitting Ctrl M. While my composition is selected. If it won't work, I will go to Add to Render Queue from the File Export menu and select my XR RGB model, which you can set by yourself by creating a template here. You can choose the OpenXR file here. It will set it to piece compression, which is great. So we want to render RGB channels, hit OK. So let's set the output folder. So I will go to the cleanup folder, assets folder, and call it glasses cleanup inside of folder of it. So this is my file name. And I will put this hashes here the way the Adobe wants me to use them. Yeah, there's definitely 5 hashes there, like that. And render it, overwrite the old sequence. And this will perfectly work for us for all the compositing we'll do on top of it, placing the eyes inside of the glasses, and we will do this in the next class as I'm already a little bit tired, guys. So glasses cleanup loaded here, so we can use the same geometry here. I just hit Alt K to copy it, so it has the same UV, and we can render it through the scanline render node and camera, like that, with the perspective mode of the scanline renderer. So now you see that it is placed exactly where we need it to be. So we can just put it on top of our mainstream, like that. Or we can be a little bit more complicated and select the exact areas with the alpha here inside of Nuke, as we got our stabilization, but I think that everything already works pretty nice. My name is Kirill Pleshakov. I hope you enjoy my classes. If you do, subscribe to my Patreon to get access to project files of all the videos I've done for my channel and for all the videos I will do in the future, including the class of the compositing of the motion graphics inside of Agent's eyes. His name is Agent. He's from our sci-fi short film Something for Nothing. The link is suggested. You can now watch it on YouTube, as it is already shown to all the producers and can be uploaded to YouTube. We've uploaded it to YouTube with draft English dub. Write your comments below about my work. It really will help me to understand if I'm doing everything right. Goodbye.